calls are growing for ABC to cancel The View after Ana Navarro was apparently gloating about the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner this past weekend. That's right, she said that now they know what it feels like, referring to the administration. This is sick stuff, you cannot make it up.
But now that room was full of some of the most important political leaders in the country right now.
Right.
Now they know, they've lived it in their own flesh, the fear that our school children go through.
Yes.
Now they know what it's like to have to jump under a table the way that school children jump under a desk. And we are a country that is vulnerable to this. We have now seen shootings in malls, in churches, in temples, and Walmart.
We saw it
in baseball
with the Republicans.
And so, I still don't understand how Congress took no action after Sandy Hook, after 20 children between the ages of 6 and 7 were killed. But maybe now that they have felt the fear themselves, they will do something.
But what I don't
reform.
understand is how...
Just absolutely sick. But don't forget, it's the Democrat Party that says, don't let a crisis go to waste. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're taking advantage of this terrible situation, advantage of this evening that quite frankly could have been a tragedy. And instead of reflecting on, hey, how have we contributed to the political temperature in this country, they're advocating for gun control. They're advocating for reform. Look, it was the Trump administration. It was Republicans who were targeted in all of this. And you don't see Republicans trying to destroy or trying to minimize the Second Amendment. In fact, acting Attorney General Todd Blanche appeared on 60 Minutes and he was asked about this and he doubled down. No, the administration stands on the side of the Constitution. It stands for our freedoms, which include the Second Amendment, which includes the ability for all of us to defend ourselves and to make sure that we never have a tyrannical government.
So the alleged shooter, as we just said, had multiple weapons in his possession. Here in the District of Columbia, open carry is not permitted. You just said he traveled from California across the country by train. At this point, are you thinking at the federal level of changing security protocols in any way to, for example, match on trains what you are expected to go through when you fly, where you do have to declare a weapon when you cross state lines? How did he travel by train without any challenge and arrive here in the nation's capital?
And look, this isn't about, in my mind, changing the law or making the laws more restrictive around possession of firearms. It appears he purchased these firearms the past couple years. We don't know how those firearms ended up in his possession in D.C. We can make some assumptions based upon what I just said about how he got to D.C. But I don't think the narrative here is about changing laws or making our laws more restrictive. This is about law enforcement who are doing their jobs and a suspect who tried to do something and failed miserably.
Well,
Look, I think Todd Blanche's response was spot on. It was President Trump. It was a Republican administration who was the target of this terrible attack. And despite all of that, they're not asking to destroy the Second Amendment or even limit it. They understand the wisdom that the Founding Fathers gave us for the Second Amendment. They understand the importance of how critical it is that every citizen has the right to protect themselves and that we collectively also have the right to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. That is why we will never have a true authoritarian regime in the United States, or at least we'll never have one as long as the populace is responsibly armed and as long as there are people willing to defend the right to bear arms. Now, look, there are always going to be crazies and extremists out there, but you can't bend, you can't fold to those crazy extremists. That's part of the reason why the United States has the policy not to negotiate with terrorists. So similar to how we don't negotiate with terrorists, we can't let one crazy lone gunman destroy our right to defend ourselves. So I think Republicans are on the right side of this issue. Well, Ana Navarro did not stop there on The View. She actually had the audacity to claim that it was thanks to God that her and her co-hosts were kept safe by not being at that dinner in the first place.
And to hear Wolf talk about how scary this was, to hear Wolf say that he was 3 or 4 feet away from the shooter, got tackled down, that really hit me, because that room is somewhere where but for the grace of God, we could have been in. And there were so many people that we love and respect in our parts of our lives who were there.
So the implication is that God kept Ana Navarro and The View safe. But there's just one problem with that. Ana Navarro is actually on record boycotting this dinner. You see, Navarro and the rest of the co-hosts on The View, they've been invited to this dinner, not just during both of Trump's terms, but they've been invited well over a decade. In fact, Fox News confirms The View host Ana Navarro boycotts White House Correspondents' Dinner, says no way in hell. Navarro says she cannot normalize the cruelty and inhumanity, but supports the event's journalism mission. So she actually boycotted the event. This had nothing to do with divine intervention or divine protection. No, she wasn't there because she hates President Trump and because she has TDS. Well, what's even crazier about all of this is, so Ana Navarro, on the one hand, she's saying, thank goodness the administration knows what it feels like now. Thank goodness we were kept safe by the grace of God. So she's saying that on one side of her mouth, but on the other side, she's saying maybe this whole thing was staged. And in fact, everyone should believe it's staged. They have a good reason to believe it's staged. But before we get to that, obviously the left has been going along with this conspiracy theory, and President Trump himself appeared on 60 Minutes, and they asked him, what do you have to say about people who say that this is staged? And I thought he had a really good response here.
I hesitate to ask you about this, but as you know, these conspiracy theories out there on the left and the right, that the event was staged or that it didn't happen.
Last night didn't happen?
That it was because it was your first time there, or that Butler didn't happen. These conspiracy theories that are gaining traction on the internet.
And October 7th didn't happen, and World War II didn't happen, and the Holocaust didn't happen, and many things didn't happen. Yeah, no, I hear it. I don't know. I think they're more sick than they are con people, but there's a lot of con in it too. I haven't heard that last night didn't happen. Usually it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Usually they wait about 2 or 3 months to start saying that.
And what's really sick is we all know that if a worst case situation happened, if President Trump indeed was assassinated, the same people today claiming that the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting was staged or that Butler was staged, those exact same people would be celebrating. You know it, I know it, so it's just absolutely sick. They'll say whatever they have to say to soothe and console themselves, but it's just gross. So Ana Navarro, she wasn't on The View when she said this, but she said, oh, President Trump lies all the time. That's why people believe this was staged. Here she is on a national platform, maybe not quite out endorsing this conspiracy theory, but at least adding fuel to the fire.
It's odd to me that in a place that is teeming with Secret Service, with Washington, D.C. police, with all sorts of law enforcement, this could happen. But also, I think people jump to that conclusion that it is staged because Trump lies. He lies constantly, daily, and pathologically. So people do not trust and do not believe anything Trump says. His lips are moving. The likelihood is he is lying. Also, this is a man who has mastered the art, forget the art of the deal. He has mastered the art of distraction. Anytime he finds himself in hot water, his numbers right now are down in the basement. His Iran war is incredibly unpopular. People are pissed as hell at the price of gas and the price of everything going up. And so people look at this and say, oh my God, is he trying to distract us again? Because that is what he does, right? He posts crazy things and he does crazy things and says crazy things to distract us from the Epstein files, to distract us from his horrible numbers, to distract us from the failures and incompetence of his administration.
Okay, Anna, forget the fact that the shooter is a Democrat. Forget the fact that he's a teacher from California. Forget the fact that he is alive and in custody. I mean, you don't think that if this was staged, if he was some sort of crisis actor, if he was framed, that he would spill all and tell the world? I mean, come on, do you hear yourself? This is absolutely disgusting. So she's trying to have it both ways. She's trying to say, oh, thank goodness the administration knows what it feels like. Oh, thank goodness God protected us because we weren't there. And yet she's trying to, at least encourage this conspiracy theory that it it was staged. Now, she herself did not say, I believe this, or people should believe this, but she clearly was at least giving legitimacy to the conspiracy theory. She was at least explaining why people should believe that. She knew what she was doing, and, you know, she has plausible deniability there, but it does indeed add fuel to the fire, and it gives air to those conspiracy theories, which, quite frankly, should die out. What's really gross, though, is Democrats all across the nation are, you know, they're saying this was staged. Some of them are wishing that it had happened, and this caught my attention. Minocqua Brewing, which is in Wisconsin, so they promise free beer day for the day that President Trump dies, whether by natural causes or assassination. So they sell this shirt on their website. I wish it was free beer day at Minocqua Brewing Company. And the owner of this company, after news of the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting, he lamented publicly, oh man, we missed out on free beer day. This is Fox News' headline on this story. Wisconsin Democrats bar laments, we almost got free beer day for Trump assassination. Owner Kirk Bangstad, a former Democrat Assembly candidate, has long promised free beer when Trump dies. So it's just absolutely gross. Well, last but not least, we do have an update from Weijia Yang. She is the president of the White House Correspondents Association. She was there. She was the one sitting on the other side of President Trump. Trump was at the head table. Melania Caroline Levitt to his right, and then Weijia Yang to his left. And they were there as the Mentalist was performing a magic trick. Now, for those of you who haven't heard yet, the Mentalist supposedly is able to read minds. And Caroline Levitt has actually not publicly said what she's going to name her child. She's pregnant right now, right? And she has not revealed that publicly, and the Mentalist somehow was able to figure that out, and so that's why everyone at the head table gasped right before the shots were fired, because he had just figured out the name. And so she appeared on 60 Minutes, and she was asked about the experience, and she actually revealed something about President Trump in that moment that I think you'll find really interesting. But before we get to that, I would like to acknowledge the members of today's Governors Club. They are Super Roamer ×2, Moon Fairy ×2, Mad Negro, and I'm Just Me. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you enjoy. Without further ado, here's Weijia Yang on Face the Nation, Not 60 Minutes.
Your 7-year-old daughter was there. Your parents were there. Mm-hmm. Your husband was there. Mm-hmm. This was a lot. And I wonder what you think about this, and why it was so important for all of us to be gathered. How are you making sense of that? Have you? I think we're processing this still.
I think we're all processing it. I have covered countless shootings and murders and terrible things in my career. And this is the first time that I've been on the other side of a potentially violent and deadly situation. And no amount of reporting can prepare you for that. You're right that my family was in the audience, and it was incredibly meaningful to have them there. And so that added an additional complicated layer, because I'm thinking about the safety of my members, the safety of all of our dinner guests, and obviously at the forefront, the safety of the people who I can see who matter the most to me. And we didn't have information. Yeah. So when I was in the back, I didn't know if there was an active threat. I was watching the monitors and keeping my eyes right on their table, but at the same time trying to find more information so I could share it with everyone in that room. And President Trump called me to his holding room and briefed me before he sent out a post about the dinner being, in his words, postponed, and that he was going to have a press conference. And he really wanted to talk it through and to explain that he himself realized how important that night was. It's something we do every night. And when I did address the room, I reminded everyone that, you know, the freedoms that we are celebrating tonight in the First Amendment are still incredibly fragile. And I appreciate that the president acknowledged that. And he told me that we were not going to be deterred. He refused to stand down, and that's why he was there, despite what had unfolded. And I don't know what his team was telling him. They were relaying to me, the president keeps saying he's not going anywhere. So that's why he stayed.
Yeah, for those of you who watched my coverage live, it was really unclear in the aftermath whether President Trump was going to give his keynote speech or end up going to the White House. He wanted to stay there, as Yang was saying, but his team, for his security, his safety, they really forced him out and said, no, you have to go back to the White House tonight. What's really interesting to me about that entire clip is it's really similar to the video I made yesterday about Jonathan Karl or Richard Grenell, right? Because both of them revealed that President Trump called them privately, and they revealed to the public what Trump said to them behind the scenes. And similar here with Weijia Yang, the president of the White House Correspondents Association, saying, hey, President Trump understands the importance of this event. He understands the importance of the First Amendment and why this celebration is symbolically so critical, so important, especially in 2026. So I think that, again, is showing us another side of President Trump, and the media says, oh, he just wants attention this, attention that. But clearly, he understands the power of symbolism, and that's why he wants this show, he wants this dinner to be rescheduled within the next 30 days. As always, though, all of that is just my analysis and commentary. That's what's happening in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So there has been this growing narrative on the left side of the aisle that the shooting this past weekend was staged. Have you seen anyone you personally know sharing that, let's say, on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, or are you only seeing the crazy radicals? Basically, like, is there anyone in your circle who you've been seeing, spreading those conspiracy theories? I'm just trying to get a sense of how common this is. Personally, I've seen it, but from people who also believe like Butler was staged, for example. So it's not coming from people who would necessarily surprise me, though they are people who disappoint me. Let me know down in the comments below. Now, I know it is Monday, and I just recently introduced Music Mondays. For those of you new to the channel, Music Mondays is when I do a piano cover of a piece that you guys request down in the comments. I just wanted to give a bit of an update. That is going to be put on pause for the next 4 to 6 weeks. For those of you who missed the announcement, I am in the middle of a move, just bought my very first home, and so it's a lot crazier, a lot more intensive than I thought it would be. I know it seems normal behind me right now, but yes, I am packing, and probably in 2 weeks you'll really start seeing the apartment go crazy. That's when you'll probably see boxes out in this room, but it's very possible that 4 weeks from today I will be in the new house. So it's, again, it looks normal right now, but it's about to get really crazy. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.